All right, we're back, the Health Engineer Show. I'm Clint Fuqua, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat Business Media Network, OBBM TV, by the way. Please check us out everywhere that's streaming. You have heard that your home is your castle. I'm sure you've heard this. You probably think so. You may even have some turrets up there. You may have even thought about maybe digging trenches and putting some gators in there. If you live in Florida or Louisiana, that's a possibility. Or East Texas. So, but most places you can't do that. The HOA frowns on these things, right? But HOAs and everybody else love security. Why? Well, you need to be secure in your castle. It's your domicile. You're there, your family's there, you have friends over, you have parties, you enjoy life there. Probably not as much because COVID is here, but still, you want to be safe there, right? You want to make sure that whoever's coming to that door, you know who they are, what their intent is, or if you're not home, well, somebody's monitoring that. Probably shouldn't be you because you're going to be out enjoying life, right? So here's the thing. There's a lot of stuff going on in your house. You need to be safe and secure there, and making sure that you're safe and secure there and your family's safe and secure is going to take a lot of stress off of you, okay? Stress is a major killer, okay? It will affect your life in ways you will never realize until after things happen. So the more you can alleviate those things for yourself at home and your business, okay? It's a big thing. So you have your castle at home, you have your empire that you're building outside of your home. Maybe you start off in your home, in your garage, you're building this little empire. You start to build it out. Protection of that thing is a major, major health concern for you and for your employees because you have to take care of them. You are now in charge of them for at least 8 hours a day in their health and safety while they're there, while they're working out to the car and everything else. So come back. On this show, I've got my buddy Wes Smith on, longtime law enforcement. We're going to be talking specifically about health safety because it's a major issue right now. If you have not watched the news, a lot of stuff going on with that, both in homes, neighborhoods, businesses. So we want you to be aware of what you need for your safety and health in all situations to make sure things are taken care of. You're going to take your stress down several notches, knowing that you've got the right systems in place to take care of those for yourself, for your family, as you expand. Right back here, Health Engineer Show. Join me with my buddy Wes Smith to make sure you are protected, safe, and healthy for the rest of your life.
Clint Fuqua is the Health Engineer, dishing up healthcare reform through personal responsibility in the areas of nutrition, discipline, and fitness. Clint cuts through misunderstood health theory with over 35 years of practical results. Start taking control of your health today with The Health Engineer. Here's your host, Clint Fuqua.
All right, we're back, the Health Engineer Show. I am Clint Fuqua, the Health Engineer, right here on the Offbeat Business Media Network, also known as the OBBM Network. I have got Wes Smith with me today, and so we're going to be talking about your home is your castle, right?
Right. And
for a lot of people, your home base, your business is your castle too, or at least it's the empire that you're trying to build.
Yes.
Right? So,
correct.
And within that, safety is a big issue, especially for like personal health and safety for this. So I want to bring you on so we can talk about things that you need to have in your house for your security system and your small business and all that stuff. And the reason why, one, we've known each other for 9 years-ish now.
Roughly 10, something like that.
And you look a whole lot different than when we first met.
A little bit.
Yeah. So for everybody out there, he's
45 pounds down.
Yeah, he has gotten healthier. It's awesome seeing that too. Did it by himself because you can do it. You can do it yourself too. So we're going to talk about some of that transition with you as well. But the big thing is, so you've got a long history in law enforcement.
Yes.
So, which I love that because, whenever you show up on the scene, whenever you're a police officer, you're showing up after the fact.
Right.
Always. Which is, if you didn't realize that, the police show up after stuff happens. They're not there when it happens, it's always after. So, which is even more important, usually.
Yeah, sometimes you get there when it's going on.
Sometimes,
thank you.
If you're lucky, they show up when it's going on. So, but otherwise, having a good security system and everything else helps out with, giving some time for police to get there to respond and everything else, because response time, depending on where you're at, could be 5 minutes.
Right.
If you're in LA, it might be an hour. I don't know. Traffic. That's why everybody's moving here. Quit tying up our traffic, people. But I wonder, give everybody a little bit about your background in law enforcement, how long you were there, and what you did in law enforcement, because you had a great career.
I was Dallas PD from '88 to 2001 when I was medically retired by a drunk driver. While there, I did everything from patrol work, crime prevention specialist, motorcycle gang intelligence stuff. Went through 27 back operations after the drunk and got to where I could walk again without a cane. Went to work for the state of Texas as a special investigator, hunting down folks with children that they don't talk about on the news. Mm-hmm. Got tired of that, walked into security business for small business, residential to start off with, and I've worked my way up to commercial enterprise, big stuff.
Okay, yeah, and I met you, about 9 years ago when you were doing the smaller, now getting into the larger. So
yep.
As you got into larger, you get smaller.
Absolutely.
Funny how that works. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I mean, you had multiple back surgeries because you were hit by a drunk driver. Because that happens.
Yes.
Whenever you're a police officer, you didn't know if you haven't seen the videos. I mean, it's a major issue. So I know you had a lot of issues with that. We talked about that quite a few times. So let's talk a little bit about the health side, because this is a health show. Right? Oh
yeah.
So for everybody, what did you do? What was your process of elimination? Right.
Small meals throughout the day. I mean, realistically, that's what I did. COVID didn't blow me up. It helped me get down because I just started taking control of what I was eating, measuring the amount of protein, a lot more leafy greens, and 6, 7, 8 times a day type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because so an interesting thing about this whole COVID-19, the shutdown, a lot of people put on the COVID-19. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying right now? You put on the COVID-19, maybe the COVID-20, maybe the COVID-25, COVID-40, because people were sitting around. Or you had other people, because I've seen a lot of like influencers that blew up, right? Mm-hmm. And all the fitness people, and they're like, we have no gym. Well, yeah, you can still work out at home, right? So a lot of people took it upon themselves to improve their lives, improve their health, and everything else. So it's huge applause for you on that, because I watched the process, right? Mm-hmm. So for everybody else out there,
you can do it.
You can do it. So I've been making points about that online, getting me in trouble a little bit too about that. But you've had a year to get in shape, and if this thing isn't going to scare you into doing it, what else will? So with that, somebody gets healthier,
right?
And they start thinking about their health. A part of that is security and making sure that you are safe and protected and secure wherever you're living, whether you're in a home or an apartment, because people live in both, right? And there's different needs in each one of those, and different things that you have access to and availability to. So
correct.
I wanted to start off with that a little bit. Let's start, because there's a lot of people in apartments.
Yes.
Right? I mean, we see apartments popping up all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. So let's start there, because there's a lot of things people don't know about what they need to have in their apartment, or other options outside what your apartment complex offers, or what's possible from a safety standpoint there.
Can I start off with what they don't want to do?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You don't want to monitor it yourself. You don't want to be responsible for what's going on. There are, with an apartment, irregardless, they don't want you to put a hole in the wall unless you got some special contract.
Yeah. So
there are loads of people out there, loads of companies that you can order. You've seen the ads on TV and stuff, and they can ship you something, okay? Shipping it to you is fine. Getting it's fine. Just don't monitor it yourself. You're going to sleep at some point, not going to work. You're going to go on vacation to the mountains. You're going to go over to mom's house for Christmas, and you ain't going to pay attention to your phone when it goes off.
Yep.
So it's real important you have a company that you're working with that's got a UL approved monitoring center. You don't want somebody monitoring your alarm who's also, when the alarm's not going off, they're not looking at it, they're making solicitation calls for some clothing line or something. Yep. Okay, so that's what you don't want to do. You don't want to monitor it yourself.
Okay.
And as far as everything else, depends on your apartment and where you're at. But I mean, basically, you want the front door covered, because that way you get to know if the management's sneaking in on you during the middle of the day when you don't know they're supposed to be there. Would not hurt that if you've got good internet, do a Wi-Fi listed camera that's attached to that alarm. Because what you can do, there's an extra service for video verification. When the alarm goes off, they can notify you and the police department or the apartment guard or whatever and say, hey, I got this guy walking around in a red checkered shirt and blue jeans and glasses on. What's he doing? Reason that's important. You're in Dallas County. If you're in the city of Dallas, they're wanting a verified response.
Yep.
If not, you're going to call in. Somebody's going to say, my alarm's going off in my apartment. And they're going to say, what's going on? And they're going to say the front door, and they'll show up by the time you get there and then tell you, oh, you already been in? We're not going to take a report. That's just the way the system is. You've got to have a verified response. And that verified response doesn't come from you. It's got to come from a UL listed monitoring center.
Wow. Yep.
So now, if your neighbor's watching a break-in, that's a verified response too. You could always say, hey, my alarm's going off. Can you go look and see if someone's in my apartment? And they can call and say too.
If you know your neighbors, which usually doesn't happen in apartments because people are in and out.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah. So, and also, there's I live on the first floor or the second floor or the third floor. There's that issue too, because if you're on the first floor, I mean, people are driving by all day. They can look in and everything else. And if they're Spider-Man, they can climb up to second or third floor. There's a viral video that went around of a girl that posts stuff on YouTube and TikTok, and she was doing a TikTok video, and a guy walks in. And she's on third floor. The guy climbs up and walks into her space. She's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm your friend." She's like, "I don't know you." And she had to escape her apartment and get out of there. And
with these services, you also have a panic button that you can have attached to it and hit for circumstances like that.
Yeah.
Now, this is something most people in apartments and townhomes don't think about. I'd add a smoke detector. Okay. I don't know the building.
Yep.
I'm not trusting my family and myself just to somebody else. If their smoke detector goes off, fantastic. I don't know where it's going. I know where mine's going. So if they both go off at the same time, guess what? They got two calls. There's something going on there.
And you know what I'm detecting right now? Commercial break.
Uh-oh.
So, stick around. Watch all of our sponsors here, especially IV Hookup, my personal sponsor for the show. Along with the rest of our sponsors, we'll be right back. We're going to be talking about your house and your business and keeping yourself safe and them safe at the same time.
You're watching The Health Engineer. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Introducing IV Hookup.
IV treatments have been the standard of care used for years to deliver intravenous hydration treatment to patients. Our medical director has created a safe, industry-standard protocol to efficiently support your wellness through IV vitamin hydration, including options for athletic performance, mood enhancement, general wellness, and hangover recovery. IV Hookup now offers full-spectrum COVID-19 testing at reasonable prices. This means we can get you and your staff tested in a quick time frame. Are you hosting a group event? We can provide a customized package for IV treatment and COVID testing as well. IV Hookup is everything you need to both stay healthy and to prove it.
Go to ivhookup.com to order yours, and we'll bring it right to you. That's ivhookup.com.
Our position in the market is that we work for a customer to align them with the correct retailer for their business. We'll custom price and build a contract around your business requirements, not around the supplier's preferred way of doing things. We go and do a custom price based on your energy usage profile. And in our business, we can help any commercial business owner, regardless of the size of their company. If you're paying $100 for your electricity per month, or you're paying $1 million, we're able to help you get a better price based on who you are. Our position in the market is that we work for a customer to align them with the correct retailer for their business. Texas is very proud to have been able to shut down 9 coal-fired power plants in the last 2 years and replace that production with clean burning renewable energy. The 85% of the electricity in the grid for Texas is used on commercial. We're here to help those 85% reduce their costs as much as possible.
All right, we're back. Clint Fuqua, the health engineer, and we left off with, if you're in an apartment, things that you need to have there for your safety and security. So you're secure in your domicile there. Even though you don't own it, you still live there, right? And we were talking about detectors for fire and everything else. So anything else you want to cover on apartments? And we're going to jump into houses.
No, we can go for it.
All right, let's go to the castle, right?
Got
because
it.
you can't dig a moat, okay? You can't put alligators and the piranhas in the moat, depending on where you live. I mean, Louisiana, you might. Louisiana, you can. They got gators there. But, you know, it is your castle. It's the place that you're at. Your family's there and everything else. So what do people need to look at with that? Because there's companies out there, you know, I'm not going to say the name, but there have been hacks and issues with those companies, and also issues with the video response on them, things like that. So what do people need to be aware with those things, with what you do, and then what's out there, and what they need to know about for their securing themselves in their house, so they are safe?
Well, I'm going to go back to the first thing you shouldn't do is monitor it yourself, because you're going to go to sleep sometime, you're going to go out of town, you're going to be somewhere without your phone, and when they call you, you can't say anything, okay? So I mean, that's just the nature of being who we are, okay? So you want a UL listed monitoring center, plain and simple, so they can take responsibility for it. They're liable for it. If you're liable for it, and you went in there to tell them to send somebody, you're in trouble. I'm going to go back to, you want to have a service that gives you a video verified alarm, because you want to guarantee that when something happens, the police are going to show up. So there are a lot of companies that do it. You can do your due diligence. We can look at a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, you don't want them showing up for the squirrel that keeps on messing with you.
That's right.
Yeah, you know the squirrel I'm talking about. I'm going to get you.
In my house, it's a cat that keeps coming by bugging my dogs. But anyway. But you want a system that you can set up that's going to cover the way you use your home, not just because someone says you want front door and back door. You got to look at how you use it. But I want to go back to something you asked me when we were off air. You've got your home-based business, okay? There are a lot of things you can do, okay? And it depends on what you're doing. But get a system, and when you get it set up, put contacts, put a motion detector, put a door contact in the room where your office is, okay? When you're not there, close that door. Don't leave it open. Okay? Because, look, if you're sitting there at home and you've got children, it's your house, it's your office, kids are going to do what kids are going to do. But that information in there is important to the way you take care of your family. Okay? You need to know, if you're dealing with people's personal information, you're a tax accountant, and you're running your tax stuff out of your house, you need to take an extra step to secure it. If your life is evolved around selling tchotchkes of some type, your inventory, where you're shipping to people and all those things is there. Child in the room coming in there freely when the door is wide open and you don't know they're there, they can damage a computer. They can get into paperwork. I personally have a story of a 3-year-old son climbing on stuff, and lo and behold, guess what? Things got messed up on it. But my whole livelihood didn't count on that. So it was a little aggravation. There are things you can do. So just treat that as your business. That space is where you take care of you and your family.
Yeah, well, there's child safety issues there too, which, you know, the health and safety of your kids is huge. So if you've got a pool, things like that, you know, you're going to want to have some monitoring on that, just so they're, one, if they're in high school, they're not throwing parties and stuff.
Oh, that might be something.
Right? I got a big small over there. So it's knowing those two, because, well, what if they're having a party and it gets out of hand? Well, now you got a riot going on in your house.
Well, you can take, and a lot of people say, well, it only has the one keypad and all this stuff. Yeah. Well, now with wireless technology being what it is and things, you can have what's called in the alarm business 2 zones. You can have a keypad for the office to where people go in and put the code in, and then they're there. The rest of the house is fine. You can do all types of things. Don't treat it as my house and also work from it. That is your workspace.
Yep.
You know, you need to treat it just like if you were going to the office. Because if you don't, you know, what happens if the kid, the dog, the cat, the whatever gets in there and gets into the stuff? You just need to take those extra steps.
Yep. Yeah. So let's jump from the home business to, I've got my small shop in the shopping center. What do they need to look at? Because, I know you work with like the large. You like working with the shopping centers, right?
Yes, but you remember me when I started.
Yeah, I remember you when you started. So for like the small shop owner, right? Because you know, there have been some small shops that have been damaged, destroyed, things like that. And if you're monitoring yourself, you know, what's your recourse for that versus, you know, if somebody else is monitoring, because then you can nail whoever did it, right? Send them to the police. But what do they need to be aware of? And we talked about insurance too, which is hilarious. Some of the stuff you told me about insurance, people not having insurance for the businesses. he's got connections for you. He'll hook you up. So let's dive into that.
Look, if you're renting a space, you're leasing a space, however it is, in the shopping center down the road, okay, and you've got 1,000 square feet, 500, whatever it is, that's your spot. Okay, that's where you're working. You need to take proper steps to do it. But now you've got the added risk of your customers, your clients coming into that building. Okay, so not only do you have to secure your information to make sure bills are paid, suppliers are taken care of, people's information doesn't get out on the black market and that everybody's getting paid, now you've got the liability of someone coming into your location. You know, what is there? There's a fake slip and fall, those type of things.
COVID, cough.
That's right. All that stuff. So you need to have measures put in place that cover that to some extent. That doesn't mean you need, a $10,000 camera system, but you need one. And this is what I run into and ran into with small business a lot. A lot of people go into the big box store and buying a camera. The problem is admissibility in court. Okay, because I'm sure there's somebody who's going to be watching this, going to be listening, well, I had my cameras and police wouldn't take the video.
Yeah.
The reason for it wasn't admissible because it wasn't encoded. Okay. With 90% of all security companies out there, they have a residential security system that they'll sell put in the house that's not encoded, that's not going to work for a business. But then they have a business level thing. It just simply means it's a little bit harder to fake the video on it. If you look at it that way, it actually blocks and stamps stuff on it. I mean, there's different ways of doing it, but it's admissible in court. So they'll take that video. They'll use it. Yeah. They're not going to waste time on a video, even if it shows me clearly, to take and admit it if they can't use it. So it's make your life easy. Get something that's for what you want to use it for.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I want to have you. It's stress. So stress is a killer. And alleviating stress and doing things like this where you're protected it takes stress levels from here to here, especially if something happens there. Knowing that, the video that you got is going to be admissible in court. It's not something that's like if you have your server that's there and all the videos going to that thing that's in your office space. Well, if your place gets destroyed, that's all gone, right? So that's a couple of big reasons why I wanted to bring you on here and do this, because one, it's the stress, it's the easing of stress in people's lives, because everybody's stressed out, and running a business is stressful enough. If you lose everything because of something happening, you want to know that you've got you're essentially insured, and you got business insurance too to go along with that. But so from a health standpoint, you're going to stay healthier because, stress levels will be down, right? Everything else is going to be better. You can lose weight easier. If you're stressed, you can't lose weight, people. That's another reason I want to bring you on here, because of the tie-in of this, because people usually don't see that tie-in between security, safety, and stress levels, and, just being able to live life, right? You go on vacation, your stuff is secured, or at least watched over.
Well, when you own a business, I'm going to cover my house. We use me as an example, okay? Young police officer, crime prevention specialist and stuff, 1992, I had my alarm system installed, okay? Used it, paid a company big money back when they had to hardwire it, okay? Wife and I were comfortable. I didn't have flashes, and phone didn't ring. Back then, I had to give them a number, a landline, to call the grandparents when we were back there. I rested easy. Okay, made me comfortable knowing my wife was at home, because, look, people like to follow. And with what I did back then, some people were up to no good. Gave peace of mind. Now, with a business, you want people to be productive. If you're sitting there by yourself, you don't need to watch employees. You don't need to know what's going on. But you own the smoothie shop, and you need to make sure they're taking care of it the right way, because you don't want anybody getting sick because of COVID. You want to make sure everything's clean. It's real simple. It keeps everybody doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. And what everybody should be doing, what they're supposed to do right now, is one, they need to contact you.
Me?
They need to contact you. So, for everybody out there listening, enjoying this, how do they get in touch with you?
Real easy. You can call me on 214-477-6692. I'm more than happy to answer questions, help any way I can.
Okay. And then I know you represent companies, so.
Yeah, I work for Securitas Electronic Security, and you can find it at securitases.com.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming on the show, alleviating some stress. Okay.
Appreciate it.
No fighting on this show, by the way. So for everybody out there, thank you. I'm Clint Fuqua, the Health Engineer. This is the Offbeat Business Media Network, OBBM. For everybody out there, please look us up on Roku. Come back for the next episode. Have a great day. Take care of your health out there.
You're watching The Health Engineer. We'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors.
Strong business has always been the clear economic indicator. Work Suites in Allen, Texas is just one of 18 locations in DFW and Houston that support your necessary transitions with full service and affordable workspaces for upgrading or downsizing your current workload. You need to be focused on growth. Trust the office experts and helpful staff at Work Suites to take care of everything else, from dedicated phone lines and internet to furnished executive and co-working spaces. The OBBM Network has tripled our business in the short months we've been with Work Suites and encourages you to step out boldly, make the tough decisions, and get back to work your way. Your nation depends on it. The OBBM Network acknowledges that this is a pivotal time in history, and it is clear the United States of America has been undermined by many of our elected officials for some time now. We want our local business audience to stand strong in the face of what we now understand, and to be empowered to grow our businesses on the local level beyond the limitations that have been imposed upon us. We believe it is in our national interest to inspire our communities through strong economic development, and additionally to hold our elected officials accountable for accurate representation of we the people. For that reason, we encourage you to go to WeStandForFreedom.com to learn about the National Write Your Congressman organization that has been the trusted communication tool for local communities for over 60 years. Learn how your representatives are voting. Understand the laws and regulations under consideration on the state and federal level before they are enacted at the county and city levels. Communicate directly with these officials and stand up for yourself, for by doing so, you will protect the communities you serve from tyrannical rule and unconstitutional reforms. The OBBM Network is the premier voice for local business, and we take that responsibility seriously. The OBBM Network has everything you need to grow and transition your business for success on popular syndicated podcast networks, Roku and other video channels, and the OBBM Network app. We work for you, local business, and we've got your back.
All right, we're back. Fire special. Not really. We're going to do an expansion on what we've been talking about with Mr. Wes Smith, and it was quite literally an expansion. So say you have your small business, okay? You get really successful. Awesome. We have a second location. We get even more successful. We get a third location. Even more. We got a fourth. Ooh, hey, we got 10 locations now. In that scenario, things change from a security standpoint and stress, okay? So what do they need to start looking at that? Because we're kind of talking a little bit, and so we want to do a little bonus round on this for the small businesses out there that are starting to expand and turning into medium to big business, right?
Well, as you start to grow and you start to add locations, every location's in a different place. Okay, you don't build them all right next door to each other.
Yep.
So your clientele's expanding. You're getting into different zip codes, different markets, and you're growing. Well, sometimes you know the building that you're looking for. Sometimes you build it. Right? Mm-hmm. But do you know, or should you be concerned about what the crime trends are in that area?
Yes, you should, especially now, especially if you live in Seattle.
There are different ways that you can do that. And there's a deal that I do that uses Pinkerton Crime Index reporting to where I can tailor the review for if it's a restaurant, if it's a smoothie shop, or you in specific when you go national on your facilities for training people. We can look at what the trends are for those specific business areas that you're going to, for those zip codes that you're going to be at, so you can plan and you know what to take care of. But just because you're building that same 1,200 square foot place or 5,000 square foot place, every place you go, and that's what you're looking at.
It's a brand new place.
Doesn't mean the same security, the same protocols need to be put in place.
Yeah.
So you got to adjust it for where you're going. Even if you're only going from the west side of Dallas to the east side of Dallas, and you're right off I-30, crime's different.
Oh yeah.
You need to take that into consideration when you're building, putting in, moving into your building. You cannot do them all the same.
Oh yeah, and that comes down to the safety of the employees too, because this way your employees know that they're taken care of, and you know your employees are taken care of whenever they're walking into the building, leaving the building. I mean, we do that. So, you know, PhysioFit where I'm at now, you know, we've got, the owner's wife and other females, they close up. So there's usually at least one or two of us that walk out with them at night.
Right.
Same thing in the morning. Usually it's the guys that open in the mornings. But, there's that piece of it because we're in Dallas. It's not a bad place, but, there's no safe or unsafe place. There's only safe or unsafe people. That's Jeff McKissick's line there. So, so it's one taking off the stress, but knowing that your people are going to be safer.
Right, and you need to know how that is affected.
Yeah.
Every area you're going. You can't just say, I'm opening up a dentist office here.
Yep.
You may be great at dentistry, but how is that neighborhood going to affect the way your employees and your clients come in?
Yeah. It's also a corporate wellness strategy because
that's right.
Getting them healthy, getting them to do workouts and eat better and drink water, it's great. Are they going to be safe in that space, right? Everybody's talking about safe spaces. Well, are they going to be safer and protected in that space? Because that's a major health consideration.
Hold on. You're good. I like the way you put that together.
Thank you.
See, you're not just a pretty face with nice hair.
Magic happens on occasion.
Yes, that was great. So but that is something that is left totally out of 90% of business plan and growth.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is also, in my experience, since doing this law enforcement thing and security business stuff, that needs to be addressed before that move happens. It should be looked at because that's going to dictate how that's implemented. Instead of getting there and realize you put all the cameras up and did all the alarms and stuff, and then, whoa.
Yeah.
We're right next to a railroad track and we forgot. People walk down it and look what they're doing, breaking in all the cars now. What do we do?
Yeah. And that's part of the demographic research, people. That's right, demographic research goes deeper than just who's there buying your stuff.
See, excuse me, he is more than just a pretty face. So just remember that. That was smart too.
So for everybody else out there, once again, how do they get a hold of you?
Easiest way, just call or text me at 214-477-6692. You want to see what the company does, you can just look at securitases.com.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and your company is, it's huge, right?
We are either number one or number two, the world's largest sole security company there is. So,
Yeah, once again, another reason why I've got you on here. One, because you're an awesome guy. And you look great in a hat. You're going to see the hat pictures, by the way. Both him and Jeff trying to look better than the hair, right?
We covered all ours up, but it looks good.
So anyway, thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining us for the bonus rounds of this. And more coming for you right here on the Offbeat Business Media Network, the OBBM Network, right here, Roku, and everywhere else you can get streaming services.
The Health Engineer is produced by Offbeat Business Media for the OBBM Network and made possible through the generous support of sponsors and viewers like you. For program information, call 214-714-0495. The Health Engineer, Offbeat Business Media LLC, OBBM, Network trademarks, and all portions of this broadcast are produced for the exclusive use of the OBBM Network and affiliates, and may not be reproduced without written permission by Offbeat Business Media LLC. All inquiries are directed to call 214-714-0495.